Hey, what's going on? It's Jack Milocco. Hey, what's going on? It's Jack Milocco for Beardbrand. Welcome to the week 40 update of the growing of my beard for an entire year. Today, we're going to talk all about how where you live may affect the way your beard looks. Alright, so I just got back from the mountains, and while that was an awesome place to visit, there was one thing I noticed that was really sticking out to me the entire time I was out there, and that's that my beard was cooperating more than it ever had before. It sat flat from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. It cooperated and it was awesome the entire time I was out there. So that got me thinking, does the location where you live affect the way your beard behaves and the way your beard looks? To a larger extent, yeah, it really does. And what that really comes down to that I found was humidity. Now, I've done a video about humidity all the way back at the beginning of this series where I recommended that you guys try out some hairspray on your beard if you're in a place that's really humid. And while I look back on that tip and maybe you don't fully agree with it nowadays because I'm not super into putting chemicals in my beard, I do think that it teaches us a good lesson, and that's that humidity does affect your beard. In that episode, I talk about, however, when I'm down in Florida visiting family, my beard just tends to frizz up and get completely uncooperative. Well, if you look at the mountains, it's completely on the polar opposite end of that spectrum. In the mountains, it was very dry and my beard was very manageable. But in Florida, it was very tropical and my beard became very unruly very fast. Here in Austin, Texas, it's kind of like a middle ground for humidity. It's not as dry as the mountains and it's definitely not as humid as down in Florida. When I got home, I was curious. I wondered why this was happening. Of course, I could just blame it on humidity, but I wanted to know the actual reasoning behind that. So put on your thinking caps, guys, because it's time for some beard science with Jack. I found this article on Smithsonian.com by Joseph Strongberg. I'll put the link down to that one in the description so you guys can check it out for yourself. But basically what that article is getting at is that due to the chemical structure of your hair, it's affected by the amount of hydrogen which is in the air, which is in turn humidity. Now within your hair there's these things called keratin proteins, which essentially form types of bonds which make your hair stronger and affect it in different ways. Within this article, Joseph talks about two different types of bonds. The first one is disulfide bond, and that one's permanent. It affects the strength of your hair and really isn't all that affected by outside things like humidity. But the second bond he talks about in the article is hydrogen bonds. Now this is the impermanent one, the one that is affected by humidity and the one that is going to make your hair and your beard feel a little bit different depending on how humid it is outside. Joseph Stromberg says, and I quote, "Hydrogen bonds occur when molecules on neighboring keratin strands each form a weak attraction with the same water molecule, thereby indirectly bonding the two keratin proteins together. When many such bonds are formed between keratin proteins in a strand of hair, it causes the hair to fold back on itself at the molecular level on a greater rate." The analogy that Joseph uses in this article is imagine your hair as a metal coil. So you can straighten out your beard and get it as down and nice as you want it, but then imagine introducing a bit of humidity. Water molecules are being absorbed into your beard and forming hydrogen bonds, and slowly but surely, that metal spring is coiling back into its normal twisted self. That's where you get that frizz and that curl that you experience in humidity. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of why a place like Texas or Florida is going to make your beard look different than it would out in a dry place like Utah. Go ahead and check out that article if you want. It's actually a pretty good read, and it'll give you a little bit more information about how humidity actually affects your hair. The main takeaway that I have from all of this is that I envy you guys that get to live out in those dry environments where your beard is going to sit flatter, especially if you've got a big curly dense beard like mine, because during my time out in Utah, I felt like my beard was finally cooperating with me. No blow dryer was necessary, no round brush was needed, just a comb, and it was amazing. But here I am back in good old humid Austin, Texas, and I've returned to my old ways. If you want to find out how I straighten my beard in humid places like this, go ahead and click on the video that's either up here or here. I don't even remember where these things go. All that being said, guys, that is what I have for you this week. Let's bring it on in and check out the progress of this beard 40 weeks in. Welcome back. Let's get into the comment of the week. This one comes from last week's video. You know that one where I measured my beard? That one still is kind of weird to me. Anyway, this one comes from Marlon Hernandez, and he asks, "Jack, why don't you spread minoxidil to fulfill the area without hair?" This one is my touchiest area, minoxidil. I don't quite know enough about it to really give any sort of full explanation on it yet. I definitely want to make a video about this stuff eventually, but as of right now, I do not know enough about it to use it on myself or to recommend or disrecommend it to anyone. Okay, so until I know a little bit more, I won't be using it myself, all right? You're welcome to try it, but you won't get the recommendation from me as of right now. So Marlon, I hope that answers your question. And guys, thank you so much for joining me. Can't believe we're already 40 weeks. We're getting to the tail end of this thing. Anyway, I will see you guys next week when we get into week 41. But until then, guys, keep on growing.
Beardbrand is a premium men's grooming company with products not only for your beard, but also your hair and body. Do yourself a favor and head over to beardbrand.com and take care of yourself. Or you can stick around and watch a few more of our awesome videos.